Irish souvenirs from the 20th century. Souvenirs have been a major element involved in tourism and travel for thousands of years, and hold the power to express a country's culture abroad. The prints and postcards from Cuala Press had a powerful impact on the Irish revival and how Ireland as a country was perceived abroad. The artistry and imagery featured on the prints expresses the aspiration to achieve a uniquely Irish art style and exhibits Irish Christianity, ruralism, and Gaelic revival. The Cuala Press was established in 1908 in Churchtown, Dublin, as a succession of the previous Dunema Press. The press was founded by Elizabeth Corbett and Susan Mary Yates, and employed almost solely women. At a time of such political unrest, the ethos of Cuala Press was in agreement with the desire of many Irish people to attempt to establish a national identity. The prints were made using a then modern technique called photogravure and then hand-painted. The press printed books, broadsides, poetry prints, and cards, specialising in Irish themes and inspired by the arts and crafts movement. Prints and postcards were sold across Ireland and shipped internationally. When Cuala Press eventually closed in 1986, it left behind a remarkable legacy and impact on Irish art and the way Ireland was perceived. Indeed, what differentiates the Cuala Press from other Irish artistic workshops of the period, for example, the Clark Stained Glass Studio, is that the artworks they produced were conceived for international travel. It would be inaccurate to call their prints postcards, since contrary to the ones we know today, they were not meant to be used as a writing surface, and were instead thought of as artworks made to be framed. But, since they are nonetheless cards representing typical aspects of a specific place that were sent by the post, they exported a constructed image of Ireland in the same way that souvenir postcards do. The business model of the printing house partly functioned as a subscription service, and the new prints were sent through the postal service to various patrons. This took place within Ireland, of course, but also Scotland, England, and as far as New York. These prints were targeted to Irish diaspora, like the one shown here, as well as anyone who was likely to buy them. Their influence was so widespread, their style soon became synonymous with Irish culture. For example, just think of the typography we've been using in this presentation. It feels Irish, as it was used by them. Hence, it is still important today to understand what image of Ireland the Cuala Press was spreading and why. The early days of the Cuala Press were in the midst of Ireland's political upheaval. During the course of the printing press's early life, Ireland went from being under British rule to finally forming the Irish Free State in 1922. The Cuala Press created art for the many and not the few. The most accessible way of spreading this art was through their line of greeting cards. These greeting cards reflected the Yates sisters' nationalist ideals by showing Ireland as a vibrant, culturally distinct, and self-determining society in alignment with the prevailing nationalist political agendas. Due to this desire, national and international audience across social classes had the opportunity to engage with these beautifully crafted pieces of art. This is why the Cuala Press became instrumental in the Irish revivalist movement. Now let us study some specific examples. This depiction of St. Bridget is one of many created by the Cuala Press. We chose this one specifically because it was displayed at the exhibition of Irish art held in association with the Chicago World's Fair in 1933, along with many other Cuala greeting cards. By using St. Bridget's image, they played a crucial role in reviving Irish religious and cultural identity during a time of political change. As one of Ireland's patron saints, St. Bridget is the embodiment of Ireland's early Christian heritage. Also, it created a distinct contrast to the British religious influence that was forced upon the Irish during British rule. Her depiction by the press reinforced the Irish people's pride in their heritage. Like many of the Cuala Press's prints, this one has a distinct feminist undertone. Out of all of the most prominent and revered Irish saints, including her, St. Patrick, Colmcille, and the 12 Apostles of Ireland, she's the only woman. By incorporating St. Bridget into their greeting cards, the Cuala Press used religious art to reinforce a new, distinct national identity, which contributed to Ireland's cultural revival, not only with Ireland, but across the globe. The Cuala Press embodied Irish landscape in their greeting cards by using real places as their inspiration. As you can see from the print we have chosen, the artist has drawn traditional cottages, some with slatted roofs and one with a thatched roof. These specific cottages were from Barnacoole, County Dublin. However, if the card didn't have the town's name, it would be impossible to identify it. Art from the Cuala Press often was about finding beauty in the mundane and showing the world how beautiful the Isle of Ireland was. The Cuala Press greeting cards weren't drawn by a single artist, but despite this, they all share certain similarities, which seemingly creates one cohesive style, making it easy to identify them as a Cuala print. As a result of the exportation of the Cuala prints, the ways in which Irish culture was understood abroad changed. The cards examined helped to establish a sense of self in a post-colonial Ireland through Christian imagery and the creation of an Irish style. As we have shown, the use of the cards as souvenirs allowed for these important messages to be widespread. Thank you for listening.